What is going on, everyone? My name's Chrono JJ. I've stolen Boyd's introduction, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action. It's the Champions League, the Implode Division, Week 4. Mariano, the Argentinian, versus Grandmonster, the Bulgarian. I was just thinking to myself, like, whoever has ever thought of, like, Argentina in a war against Bulgaria? Like, just opposite ends. It just seems crazy to me. But I'm back. Age of Mythology. Let's take a quick look at the standings. Then we'll go into the players as we're kind of going through the early parts of the game. But yeah, this is the Implode division. This is the upper tier of the two divisions. In the Champions League, let's take a look at the standings. We're looking at the Implode division on the right. Grandmonster and Mariano, 5th and 6th place currently. They need a win because you go 1-3, and that means you'll have to win out in order to have a chance. The top 4 to advance. So far, this division, everybody's just been beating each other. I mean, look at all these records. They're so close. In fact, when I was looking at the scores of the 12 games, if I counted right, of the 12 matches that have been played, 9 of them went to game 3. So only 3 2-0 games in 12. So that's awesome. Don't look at the left side. I didn't have time to update it. I'm a busy man. And because I'm busy, we're just going to jump right into the game. I've got a few people in the chat on the YouTubes already, ready to go. Probably waiting because I said this would be ready like 20 minutes ago, and well, it wasn't. So Cram, G-Roo, T-Mac, 911, Kevin, AoM are all ready to go, and so am I. Mariano versus Grandmonster. They play a variety of gods, so we should see a variety of gods in these games. So let's go into game number 1. I got 3 games here. I don't know if there were truly 3 games. I don't know who won. Let's find out. Game number 1 should be Grandmonster's home map. Let's dive into it. Zeus versus Odin on a watering hole. Okay. Zeus versus Odin. So who we got on the bottom? It is Grandmonster. He is our Odin player, and typically mains Odin. I think maybe he would say Odin is his best god, but it seems like in the tournament games, he likes to play other gods pretty frequently. But he's Odin here, facing off against Mariano up in the top. He is our blue color. He is Zeus. So Zeus versus Odin on a watering hole. I like this matchup. Honestly, any game that's got Norse in it tends to be pretty fun. So we should have a good game on our hands. I like watering hole too. It can be pretty wild. It can be wild. We've got the town centers are just smack dab right in the middle of the map for each player. Of course, your side town center is pretty protected. Gold mines. Get a couple gold mines pretty close to your base, as we see here. This is a glorious gold mine for Grandmonster down here on the bottom. Like, it's almost so good. Oh, he did get it. I'm like, it's almost so good. It's a gold mine that you could miss just because how well it's placed. And that's kind of what you get when you spawn kind of close to the corner of the map. You always get that potential of a gold mine down here in the bottom. Watering hole, high hunt, as we probably all know. You can see there's just hunt everywhere. Grandmonster, he's got a nice variety of gold mines too in his base as well. Relic, hoplites, plus 5% hack damage. Pretty good one if you're Zeus. And then the other relic, the Eye of Horus, plus 2 town center population. That's pretty good as anybody. Free population. Can't get mad about that. And one poop. Hello, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. So what will we see? Zeus versus Odin on watering hole. As I understand it, this is what Grandmonster picked. His home map. Now, Mariano would have known the map going into it, so would have picked Zeus on purpose. You might see a bit more of a boomy game, potentially. Because you always have that possibility as an Odin on Watering Hole, which is pretty defensive, of just kind of going like 2 town centers and doing like a semi-quick Ragnarok. You know, kind of your grab an early town center, do some early aggression, like kind of raiding, no like real big fights, because you don't, as the Odin player, you don't really want a big fight. You just want to raid and keep the Zeus player defensive as long as you can. And then you cast Ragnarok after you've had 2 town centers pumping vills, and then hopefully you can gold block, and then it's GG from there. So that's a possibility. I think if I'm Mariano, that's the strategy I'm scared of most. So if I'm Mariano, I build a forward base with Athena, and I push through. And especially with this gold mine, this could be harassed pretty easily. But he didn't scout it yet. So, little thing. At this point, the most valuable thing for you to be figuring out is what you're doing for a strategy. Because you're about to age up to age 2. About to hit that button. And as a Zeus player, you really want to know, am I going Athena or am I going Hermes? And that gets to, where is the scout position? To me, the scout, rather than coming up here, should have scouted Grandmonster's base to see where that forward gold mine is. And if I'm the Zeus player here and I see a forward gold mine, I know I can do some damage with an Athena rush. I'm going Athena. But he hasn't scouted it yet, and the fact that it's about 4 minutes and he's not aged up yet, I think he's just decided he's going Hermes. He canceled his last Vill, and now he canceled who? He is going Athena. But this is a late advance for Athena. We saw that there's a little bit of idle time there where he like started training a hero, and I think realized it was already 5 minutes, and then he stopped. And Grandmonster at the 4-minute advance. What in the world is he doing? That's quick. Hello, Raptor, too, by the way. Don't want to leave you hanging. 4-minute advance, so no early second town center. Looks like he's more valuing getting pressure on Mariano. And now Mariano's probably regretting his slow age up time. Now the Valk, she's coming up here as basically an instant bolt. So she's going to get to about here and probably get bolted. And that'll be the end of the Valkyrie. That's kind of a pretty standard play as Zeus into like Odin. And Mariano retreating. This isn't, I'd say, a good start for Mariano. I don't think. Because that's a lot of walking time to come down here just to get to Water Buffalo. And now he's got to walk all the way back. And just by aging up a minute later, can't stay at this the food. And now he's grabbing a town center. See, that's the Valkyrie and the Minotaur going 1v1. So Zeus not going with the bolt here. Oh, you don't want to lose your Valk. Tried to get that Minotaur down. Now, does Grandmonster have... Okay, he knows that's being built. Could see a forest fire come in. I don't think he can stop this being Grandmonster because we got Odysseus, the hero, and the Minotaur. It'd be nice to try to get on that Minotaur. Don't let the Minotaur use his special. Okay, good. Valk down. Yeah, I mean, it's basically just going to be a wash. I mean, he can't really prevent it. Here, now I think if I'm Grandmonster, I transition into a semi-quick heroic and push. Because this is not a lot of hunt for Mariano to go off of. I mean, two rhinoceroses, two hippopotami there. The only other hunt is over here. And pigs are a lot slower. I think this is a nice start for Grandmonster. Something tells me Mariano probably wanted to grab a forward town center, but because he advanced so late, he had to fall back and get this one. And here he is. Grandmonster with a little bit of a raiding cavalry raid. They're going to come up here. They will find some villagers. Now, okay, I'm going to say Mariano should know about this. raiding cavalry running through his town. And heroes are coming to help out. But really what Mariano should do with this Raven, which he's checking to make sure... Or not Mariano. What Grandmonster should do with his Raven is just check and make sure that Mariano isn't hunting over here. And then he should just sit right here. As long as he can effectively stop hunting, he'll be in a good spot. And he's grabbing a town center. Yeah, I think the play here is a aggressive one town center heroic. Because you can go Frost and just absolutely demolish any army that's defending and get the town center down. And here come the villagers coming up. Now Grandmonster should know, since this wall is trying to be built, should know that some villagers are trying to come down here. And here's the thing I don't like, because he's grabbing a town center, he is not going to be able to prevent this hunt right now. Oh, could get a forest fire in. You could trap these villagers and forest fire. I would forest fire this. Should get 3 Vil kills here. 2, 3, that's so good. That's so good. One more shot. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. 3 villagers dead on a forest fire. That's good. I'll take that. I think Grandmonster will too. So that puts him in an even better spot. I mean, Mariano purely all defensive, having to push 14 villagers on wood right now, which is not where you want to be as a Zeus player at the 830 mark, that you got 14 villagers gathering wood, because you're hoping to be able to hunt. And this all goes down to, I think, just a very slow advance for Mariano. I think 5 minutes is just too slow. Because he a lot of walking time down here, had to run back, and we can see what that's resulted in so far is just a lack of hunting. And 422 is 422. I like it. I'm good, man. How are you? A little play on words there. What kind of eco upgrades we got? No pickaxe yet. We probably would like to see a pickaxe at some point. And no pickaxe yet for Mariano either. I guess I could, if I remember, check out our no resource technologies being researched. Grandmonster is going to be aging up pretty soon here. And we can see he does have the villager advantage, even though he was slower to grab his second town center. And he's putting some pressure on this wall again, which is forcing Mariano to fall back. So just this pack of 8 raiding cavalry has kept Grandmonster's base economy just completely safe. See the raiding cavalry punching through. We got hoplites behind. Oh, I would have liked to have seen him run through there. And now we see a Scotty at 945. So that means he'll hit Scotty at 1045. And he could do some damage here. I mean, Frost is super powerful. And he could come up here, frost this army, surround it, build like walls right here to just cut him off, and then just completely surround and kill the entire army. So yeah, Grandmonster, I would say just... it's his game to lose right now. Just needs to be careful not to get into just a full-on fight here. Classical age fights favor Greek quite a bit, so Mariano should just fall back, or Grandmonster should just fall back. Would like to see these raiding cavalry maybe come around and try to do some scouting. I don't know if Mariano or if Grandmonster knows that there's hunting here again. No, he probably doesn't. And here come the hoplites in. We've got Scotty up. I don't think you frost yet. But here is the frost. The frost has been used. And we'll get a decent surround on these units, but I think that was a little bit early. I feel like as soon as a frost giant comes in, though I guess he can get bolted, can't he? Yes, there is still a bolt. So I mean, it's going to force Mariano to retreat. But I think there maybe could have, I mean, I think Grandmonster could have held on to his Frost a little bit longer. I'd also like to see Grandmonster kill the units that aren't frozen, because the frozen units have 99% armor. Even the Water Buffalo, you wanted to attack them. It's so funny. Water Buffalo get frozen too. Oh, man. So yeah, like, if Grandmonster's army was up here, he's attacking a Water Buffalo too. These two units have been attacking this poor Water Buffalo the entire time, assuming that it's some sort of Greek unit. But no, he's attacking the Water Buffalo. Here comes the restoration. It's in. And this is not... see, I think overall this is a pretty decent fight for Grandmonster. I mean, for Mariano, all things considered, that he's behind. He will have to retreat, but I take this. I mean, the Frost... not as much damage as you often see, and he might be able to like reposition here in a little bit of a choke point and defend potentially. He did use his restoration. Yes, the resto is not helping the Water Buffalo either. And now here comes the turn and fight, and it's coming close to where Mariano's going to win the fight pretty soon. You can see the Toxotes just need to keep aiming at the throwing axemen. There's not a lot of raiding cavalry left. Not a lot of reinforcements either. Oh, he shot at the zebra. Oh, man. That delayed his units retreating a little bit. And now, we got a Frost Giant coming in. So yeah, Mariano's gonna have to run back. Hey man, those cows! You get those cows in the army, they can tank. They take damage, they mess up pathing, it's great. Now, Grandmonster just kind of wandering and take a lot of arrow shots here. And again, got to keep those Toxotes microed onto the throwing axemen. So far, so good. But we have some raiding cavalry playing in the back end. And I don't know if there's enough hoplites to kill all these raiding cavalry. And nothing else is going on in the map. This is just a big fight here. I think maybe Mariano should have just fallen back originally. Like, he turned and fought here. I think if he would have fallen all the way back to here and turned and fought, he would have been a little bit better shape than what he was. He kept turning and fighting and taking, like again here, I think he's trying to save his villagers, but they're all path blocked. So they're all going to die because they stayed a little bit too long. And the Frost Giant, I mean, he just tanks so much damage. 69% Pierce Armor. Forever. I mean, Odysseus isn't even shooting at him. And again, Mariano... trying to fight here, but again, taking a losing fight. I think this might have been a lot different if Mariano would have had a wall to retreat through. I think a lot of times players undervalue walls, but now Mariano's in a pretty big problem here. He's got a big problem because this is his gold mine and he has no gold in his base, and if he cannot hold this, he'll be gold starved at the 13-minute and 55-second mark. And we've got this one Frost Giant still alive yet. Jason died. Odysseus shooting at him. Can Grandmonster keep up the pressure? There's not a lot of units coming in for him. Like, his reinforcements are pretty far away. But he is at 125 and 130 pop. He has 68 villagers to Mariano's 60. Grandmonster, as we can see on the mini-map, is still hunting. And we've got this 44 hit points left, but he's attacking the other Frost Giant. Just kill this one. Oh, no. Oh, he's only got 22. Well, I guess, kill both at the same time for some extra bonus points. 22 hit points left. Get him! Burn to get him. I think Mariano, I don't know. I don't know if he could survive this. We now have heavy raiders coming in. We've got the throwing axemen shooting. Not really shooting, I guess throwing their axes. And Frost Giant goes down. But the reinforcements now are starting to funnel in for Grandmonster as Mariano's villagers turning to fight. Got some farmers over here. This is the only glow. Oh man, look at this forward hill fort. And that's it. GG. Well played by Grandmonster. I thought maybe the Frost was a little bit premature, but in the end, he was just so far ahead from just really that age up time. And that's a pretty Pretty easy win for him overall. And I think this game, it is. You're right, it is. Get out of the game, go to game 2, Hill Fort, right there. But I think this game is a great example of how aging up too slowly can cost you the game. Because Mariano aged up a full minute slower. He spent all this time early sending villagers down here. That's a lot of walking time. And then he had to spend his more walking time running away because he advanced too late. And then he got an early second town center, but he didn't have the food sources to support it. So I think this is just more of a late age up / wrong game plan, which kind of caused Mariano just to be on the back foot the entire game. Grandmonster never really let off the pedal. And that's it. GG. Let's take a look at the post game here. Good kill death ratio for Grandmonster. All resources. Grandmonster just ahead the entire game. This is the difference between hunting and not hunting. Just a total difference here. Just a little bit ahead, more ahead, more ahead. Even though he's behind. Not quite behind. I mean, behind a little bit in villagers. But we saw Mariano with a town center a full minute and a half ahead. Not ahead in villagers because he couldn't afford it. And behind in economy. So that's game 1. A pretty quick one there. So game 1 goes to Mr. Grandmonster on his home map. And let's just move right into game number 2. You missed the beginning. Both players are currently 1 and 2 in the standings, so they need to win. No, I don't have a problem with 2TC Athena. The problem I have with it, though, is if you're going to go 2TC Athena, you can't go forward hunt if you're going to age up after 5 minutes. Because there's just too much risk that you'll advance too late and then just have to run back to your base. Because that's just so much walking time. So many wasted resources early in the game. Running down here and then running back. I don't have a problem with the 2TC Athena. It's just the way he went about it wasn't correct. And really with the way the hunt was here, I don't think it was the right strategy. There just isn't enough forward hunt. Or back hunt or safe hunt for him to fall back to. But go to game number 2. On Mariano's home map. Mediterranean. Very popular map. The Mediterranean, Chronos on the bottom is our Mariano player. And then our Grandmonster player on the top is a Zeus. Yes, there is elephant on the side, but that wasn't protected elephant. Grandmonster Zeus. Mariano Chronos. Zeus v Chronos, I'd say, is pretty fair on this map. So the reason Mariano is picking this map is because Grandmonster typically plays Norse. Grandmonster also plays some Ra. Ra in Mediterranean isn't super great. So this is a good map for Mariano to pick. Mariano is grabbing his pigs instead of the aurochs. The reason he's doing that is he saves the wood. So he can get an early fishing ship out. There is some debate as to whether or not it's worth it. It depends. The problem, though, I think for Grandmonster is that he did not find any additional pigs. In fact, he just missed these, and he found those. So he's going to have to make a granary anyway. So probably might as well have just made it right at the way at the beginning. Had a little bit of Idle Town Center time. We'll see the aurochs now getting shot down. We have the deconstruct on the base. Grandmonster did a very good job. He should drop these. Drop them. Okay, yeah. So there's a little trick where you can drop your fishing ships off at the dock while it is being deconstructed. So he did that to get the resources. And is still some Idle Town Center time. Just a little bit. And he'll rebuild the dock here. Not terrible for him. Because he doesn't have the wood to make a fishing ship anyway. But his economy is a little bit mismanaged here. Yeah, you don't need Yeah, now he's fixing it a little bit. You don't need that many on food. Need more on wood, which that's what he's doing. The Chronos player here, pretty simple. What he wants to do is you probably have him age up at the 4-minute advance. So hitting age up right around 3 minutes, and then just time shifting his dock or his temple forward, and just getting some harassment in on the docks, and it going from there. Grandmonster does have a bit of a decision. Does he go Hermes? Does he go Athena? There's disagreement as to which is better, because Athena gets you restoration for a boat fight. The problem is, if the Chronos pressure is too strong, you might never be in a position where you can even get enough boats to do a boat fight, in which case you want Hermes to give you that minute of respite from the fighting to give you that opportunity to get your boats built, because the Chronos early push is a force to be reckoned with. So the players, Raptor AoM, the topic is Mediterranean and people don't like the map. The players don't mind the map. A lot of the viewers don't like it because it's fairly repetitive. I mean, you just build boats and you fight. I don't really mind Medit. I think it's alright. Because if you think of it this way, don't you see... Oh, he's aging up with Leto? Oh, he clicked the wrong one. Now he's aging up with Prometheus. Slowed him down a little bit. But anyway, you think about this, is that Oasis plays pretty much the same. No matter, you know, your gods. You know, Marsh is pretty similar. I mean, I guess there can be a little bit more variation between, like, units and stuff. But I don't think it's as bad as people say when it's just, oh, it's the same thing again over and over. I mean, shoot. If you don't want players to pick Mediterranean against you, then be better at it. You know? Because these players will keep picking it as long as they keep winning. So, start winning on it. But yeah, like, Meta is one of the most skill-required maps in the game. Because really, AoM isn't super micro-intensive. I mean, you got low unit counts, and you're at 160 pop max, generally. And units take pop. So not a lot of units to micro. There's not a lot of stuff to do. You got auto queue that does half the stuff for you. So you see a bolt in on one oracle. And an age up at 70. You'll be at about 445 age up. That's not bad. Building a third dock. Needs to get it up though. Oh, she's not going to get it up. That's actually pretty important. Is going up with Hermes too, by the way. No restoration. Like to get it. Will we just see an instant hurt? Okay. Personally, I think Athena's better. Just my opinion. I think Athena gives you more. I think if you need the ceasefire, which, like, I don't know if he really needed. He needed it to get that second dock up, but that's more of just, he was too late to build that second dock. Like, I think if you play properly, Zeus does not need Hermes here. I think you can stay in your... I mean, yes, you'd get pushed off your fish. That's fine. Then you pop out once you get about 9 boats, and then you can use restoration, and then you'll be able to fish again, and all of a sudden everything's good again. So I like Athena here more than Hermes. Because, yeah, it bought him some time, but he's still going to be behind in boats, so he's probably not going to be able to win the first fight anyway. And now he doesn't have restoration. Especially if he leaves this boat forward like this. Gotta run it back. Yep, run it back. Just get him right here. Run your boats right here in the corner. Keep them there. Got the units chasing. These units need to go forward. I guess he might want to keep Odysseus back because of Promethean. As we see a fight here under the boat, actually, with the docks here. Okay, there's a deconstruct. I don't know if I would have deconstructed that dock. I think you deconstruct the middle one. Because then you could have fought here and only had one dock, or here and had one dock, and now it's a little bit. I guess it doesn't really matter. And we've got Grandmonster trying to build a second dock, but is he even going to be able to... Yeah, he doesn't even have enough resources to even pump 3 boats at one time. Why build the second, or why build the third dock? The Prometheans wandering into the wood line here. Jason is a little bit behind, so we're probably going to see 2 vills dead. No, or none? Oh, one. He won't. No room. Oh, he gets in! Oh, I like it. Oh, he saves it. No, don't run him out. No! Oh, he could have killed it. Instead, the Promethean wall just die. We see a bit of a boat fight here. We've got 17 to 10. And in the end, no villagers died. Initially, this guy here, we'll call him Bob. He wasn't allowed in, but then everybody popped out and they let him in. So nice of them to let Bob in, and he survives with 3 hit points. And now we're back on the water again. 12 to 19. Grandmonster should stay under his docks. Stay under your docks. This is not a fight he should be taking. Not a fight he should be taking. Because, hear me out. Again, don't go forward. Don't go forward. Gotta stay back. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, Grandmonster is not... This isn't good. He's going to lose this fight. He's going to lose a lot of boats. So there's just too many. There's too many biremes for Mariano. And while the trireme obviously do trade pretty well because they have better stats, although they are more expensive, this is a good fight for Mariano. Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. We see a little bit of harassment up here. Mariano already has a barracks with some Murmillo, and they are in on the Centaur. And see, like, Grandmonster could have defended here. And now, I mean, I think he will end up defending. I think Mariano's going to have to fall back. Maybe? Well, they keep pumping in boats like there's no tomorrow. And we've got, this fun fighting here. And Mariano, he is going all in on this. Now he's falling back. But, yeah. And man, these 2 Greek heroes, they're just so strong. I mean, they were beating the Murmillo, and even the Oracles couldn't come in and help out. But anyway, the thought I was starting and then got interrupted. Why does Grandmonster need to go forward? Because he's not going to win the water. All he needs to do is protect his fish. And he's got 3 fish here and 3 fish there. He doesn't need to be here. That's really not protecting anything further. Now, he might have to garrison these fish, but that's okay. Because Mariano's only at 6 fish. So, Grandmonster should just stay back here under his docks the entire time until he's able to catch up in population. So, because why go forward? All he's doing is maybe getting himself 3 more fishing spots, which much better just to fight a full pop fight eventually, because then the Greek triremes will win. And again, it's still just a little bit too far forward. It should be sitting here. And now there's so many biremes just ignoring the docks. And there's probably enough here. Mariano playing it safe. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I guess again, now what does Mariano have to worry about? I mean, he's just, all he wants to do is just keep these fishing ships idle, and they are right now. So why fight up here, I guess. So good decision. Good decision. Because, and why not? Because he knows Grandmonster is going to come out here and fight inexplicably just a little bit away from his docks. So that's another good fight for Mariano, and he just keeps taking good fight after good fight. Mariano's got a bit of a land presence here, and the Grandmonster does not. And now Mariano not quite going in for the kill. But we've got 9 boats to 19. Mariano built another dock. He's got more fishing ships now because he's pretty comfortable with where he's at in the water. And he's pretty comfortable with where he's at on the land. So this is looking good for Mariano. And unless things change substantially pretty quickly, we'll be continuing the tradition that is in our division here, the Implode division, where almost every match goes to a game 3, so that's cool. And now, finally, Mariano is completely finishing off Grandmonster's boats, and that'll be it for Grandmonster on the water. He has stopped boat production, and having to run his villagers away from this wood line here. And what kind of economy are we looking at? Grandmonster's got wood and gold and just a little food. We have Mariano grabbing a second town center already. And Mariano full control of the water. He has purse sign. What is me versus Mariano? Well, that happened way back in season number 1. Was me versus Mariano, and he beat me. That was actually the very first week of season 1. And he picked Mediterranean against me, and I think he also went Chronos. It might have been a Chronos mirror or something stupid like that. So here he is. I got him started in the old Vubli League at a good note. Won his first round, promoted to Champions League for season 2, and here we are. So far, after 3 weeks, he's 1-2, and looking at hopefully for him winning this series to go to 2-2, because 1-3 is tough. I mean, you could still get in the playoffs. 3-3 could potentially get you in with some tiebreakers. So the loser of this series certainly isn't out. But I mean, if you start 1-3, are you really going to win your last 2? Probably not. Unless you magically turn it around. I mean, not impossible. We'll see. We've got Mariano grabbing a third town center. He's playing it kind of safe. Nothing wrong with that. Once you're ahead like this, you don't really want to just throw things away and then just lose your advantage. So Mariano will probably just, I mean, he could kind of do whatever he wants to at this point. Looks like he's going to age up to age 3. He could try some sort of age 3 push. We do have Mariano losing some units here. If Grandmonster were to just push forward, he could stop that town center. So what Mariano should do is just distract. Oh, we'll be able to kill that. Okay, that's nice. Hyperion or Rhea here? Hold on. That might have just been enough to save this town center. Oh, you stopped. 20. It's going to go up. Oh, that's so close. Oh, Grandmaster did just enough distraction by that time-shifting building. Worth every penny to time-shift that. Hyperion or Rhea? Well, he's going Hyperion. Hyperion, to me, is the safer play. You see here, Mariano's not taking good fights here. I mean, also not microing. He's got Terma that are shooting at the hero. And now he's microing. But I think Rhea, if you want to go in for the kill, I think, honestly, Rhea is probably just as good as Hyperion. But Hyperion gives you a little bit more lasting value. Like, Rhea is kind of your continued all-in push, in a way. And obviously that's nice to be able to continue pushing, but Hyperion also just kind of further solidifies where you're at, and so I don't know. It could go either way. I think you'd most likely see Hyperion just because it's safer. Chaos gives you just a little more value overall. Satyr a little bit better at fighting. BMF just kill buildings. I mean, that's pretty important. Would nice to be see the... Oh, he used his special on the hot plate. Could have used it right in the middle of all those Arcus, right in the middle of all the Toxotes. A little bit of a raid over here. Grandmaster was trying to build this wall, and as we can see, didn't quite get it up. And the Chaos is used on 3 Toxotes. I guess it'll win in the fight. Actually, these 3 Toxotes are doing a lot of damage. It kind of helped clean up this entire army. And I think Grandmonster is just going to be a gold blocked at this point. We see a palace, a forward palace. So Grandmonster with the forward palace last game, the in-your-face palace, and that was the immediate get out of this game. And now we're going to see Mariano with a very similar palace here. And this is Grandmonster's only gold mine. And you tell me where Grandmonster's to get his other gold, because, well, it's not going to be over here. And it's not going to be here. And it's not going to be anywhere. So I think that's it. Grandmonster not wanting to resign. Maybe he'll wait till this palace gets up. But I don't know what Grandmonster is going to do here, because there's nothing. Nothing to be done here. Yes, you're right, Raptor. Get out of my game Hill Fort, followed by the get out of my game Palace. Maybe next game we'll get a get out of my game Migdol, or a get out of my game Fortress. And let's see the resign button here. Let's hit. You can't even. You're not even queuing villagers in your town center right now. You have no gold. You clearly have no food. I guess you do have wood. So you're done. You got a satyr down here just throwing javelins at these poor units. And we got all the Toxotes just funneled out right next to the Arcus here. That's great, great play. And the Toxotes will all quickly die because, well, they should not be fighting against Therma. And we're having a second palace here. Oh, I love it. Oh, man. Mariano full speed ahead. Knotted this game up at 1-1. We're going to game 3. This is a best of 3 series. So 1-1 so far in this best of 3. So real quick here, how about this? How about we have just a real brief intermission? Let's update our stuff here. Let's see. We had a Chronos for Mariano in game number 2. And let's get this sorted. We had a watering hole. Let's abbreviate that, or I'm going to have to spend too much time. And then we had Medit on Marsh. And then Marsh. So Mariano was Chronos in game number 2. Let's get Zeus for game number 1 right there on watering hole. And we had an Odin victory on watering hole for Grandmonster. And then a Zeus loss right there. And let's order up some wins. Move to top. Win. Whoa. We're getting Zeus is pulling along with the win here. You know, I should be like real technologically savvy and like have this all set up ahead of time. But then I would know the results. And, oh shoot, we got to fix these maps too. I don't know if that's worth it. But anyway, so here we are going into game 3. Hey, good night, Mr. Destructo. And no, the new maps for China are not on Voobly as far as I know. It'd be pretty simple to move them over. I don't know if anybody really wants to play them. Mariano and Grandmaster win series. You might be right. Let's take a look at the standings. Spoiler alert if you haven't been paying attention, I guess. Let's take a look at the standings, see what's at stake. The left side of the map, the Earthquake Division, ignore that. Don't care. It's not even updated. The right side is updated through this game. So there's more games that's been played since then. Well, this is what we're looking like here. It's a jam-packed division. No unbeatens. Nobody that's lost every series. And we're looking at Grandmaster and Mariano currently 5th and 6th. So this is a pretty important series here because you go 1-3 and you are in a bad spot. So this game 3 here is very, very important. And it is on a preset map. Frozen Wastes right here. And how many people play AoM? Well, Depends. I mean, Steam probably has several hundred that are active at a time. That's the extended edition. The original old game, which is what this term is played on Voobly, which is a third party. And also there's a third party program called Game Ranger as well. Most of the competitive games and tournaments are held on Voobly, and that usually has a couple hundred peak time on it one time. So I mean, I guess if you're expecting like Fortnite numbers, we ain't got that. But we still got enough numbers. I mean, honestly, in this time period, there have been more tournaments within the last two years than there have been at any other time in AOT. So that's good. Activity not as high as it was in the past, but tournament activity pretty good. So let's move on to game number 3, which is not on Marsh. It's on Frozen Waste. I didn't update that. Frozen Waste. Man, I'm such a noob. You think Earthquake is a harder division? Let's see. I'm not sure about that. I mean, we tried to put them as close as we could. I think it's pretty close. I think there's maybe a little bit less skill differential in the Implode division. But I think overall the skill level is pretty even. Game Ranger was created by Scott Cavill. Who knew? Anyway, more and more talk about a definitive edition. I think it's likely. On Steam, the average is about 1,900, but that counts single player. Like, realistically, multiplayer, you're looking at a couple hundred. Oh, should I figure out... How about I do this? Do we want to do... Now, I don't know. The problem is these are recorded games, so maybe I won't do a prediction, because then people who knew what happened will know what to vote. No, Steam numbers count single player, and that's where most of your players are, so you can't really count that. But we'll move into game number 3 on Frozen Waste. That's a hectic map. Very aggressive. So let's go into it. I think we might see like an Odin and Zeus. No, I'm not going to do a prediction. Odin versus Aranos. Okay, here. I guess Mariano did not feel comfortable doing Zeus into Odin. But I'm surprised he would be comfortable doing Aranos into Odin. But yeah, Mariano is on the bottom of the map here. And he is Aranos. And then our top player is Grandmonster, is Odin. Now, if you're wondering why I'm like, why Aranos? Well, it's because Odin... it plays pretty well into Aranos. In fact, the vast majority of people agree that Odin has a substantial advantage in this matchup. What is it? 60-40? 70-30? Somewhere probably 60-40. People Oratos are playing the original Titans on Voobly. It's the original game. But you kind of got to find other ways to get it. So yeah, this is game number 3. This is an important series. Odin versus Aranos. And so the reason you might ask, Chrono JJ, why does Odin do so well against Aranos? Well, the reason for that is Ulsarks. And specifically, the Lone Wanderer technology that allows Ulsarks to run faster. And yeah, if we could be happy in the chat, that'd be great. But yeah, the speed upgrade for Odin's Ulsarks allows them to run fast enough that they can avoid ranged fire from units. Most units. But specifically, they can avoid Kiro Ballista, and they can avoid Terma. And that's huge, because Ulsarks do get a 50% damage against Terma. The problem is non-Odin Ulsarks can't really catch up to Aranos Terma to be able to take advantage of that upgrade. Odin Ulsarks can. And so then you kind of have a unit that does well against all of the Aranos units. I mean, them into Murmillo are pretty even, but beat Terma pretty handily. And Hero Ballista, the problem is they're so slow. And if you try to fight out in the open with Hero Ballista, you're just gonna find yourself getting flanked, and the Hero Ballista are gonna get destroyed. So this is a game where Aranos has to be really careful, because if he starts losing a few units at the beginning fights, he's going to start falling behind, and then you have a huge frost push somewhere. No, Hero Ballista do not do splash damage. And I'm going to give my last warning for the people in the chat, by the way. Appreciate it. Don't care if you're just messing around or not. And we have Prometheus started at 304, going to 404. And Freya a little bit later. So no, Hero Ballista don't do splash damage. Oh, it is Vercingetorix. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember now. I thought that your name sounded familiar. I just couldn't figure out who it was. So I remember you came back. You said something in the chat a while back. But okay. 4 minutes. Both of them are advancing pretty quickly. So what does happen here is the Odin player wants to avoid any head-on fights. The Odin player wants to be able to just typically run around with Ulfsarks, get enough pressure where the enemy Aranos can't pressure the Odin base. So typically what happens is the Aranos will do a little bit of early pressure first. The Odin player will get enough Ulfsarks to push the Aranos back, and then the Odin player will try to send like 5 Ulfsarks forward to try to start raiding, which will force the Aranos to have to defend. We're getting counter barracks, military barracks. What's the 4-minute advance time for Aranos? I'm not quite sure what the question is, but it was about 4:05. So you're aging up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 villagers. And there's usually a little bit of idle time after your 6th villager is made, and then you age up. It kind of just depends on where the hunt is and how much walking distance you had to do. And we can see that Grandmonster is really worried about his gold mine here, as we see the Ulfsarks start getting pumped out. Now, something I didn't notate earlier, but it's important, is that there's only one gold mine. Now, Frozen Waste can start you with 2 gold mines in your base. That's a 50-50 chance. You see the Valor coming up. I'd like to see Mariano maybe pressuring a little bit more. Like, he should really kind of have a timing in his mind, or he probably knows that the Ulfsarks aren't going to be coming that quickly, so maybe a little bit more aggressive early. And now we're starting to see some Ulfsarks coming down in the middle of the map. And Mariano does know that there is no hunt over on the left. Loses his Oracle. Not quite have line of sight of the berries. Or even this. He doesn't know this hunt is here either. Interesting. And Grandmonster is fully aware that the citizens are here hunting. But he can't fight this yet. He doesn't have the Ulfsark numbers. And not even... Oh, see, this is another big mistake. You can't go forward before you get the Odin upgrade for your Ulfsarks, which is only at 19% right now. Oh... Grandmonster should have Mariano should have used a Shockwave there. If he would have used a Shockwave, he probably would have killed about 5 or 6 of those Ulfsarks. And to me, that would be certainly worth it at this point. So that is a mistake by him. He should have realized that there was no Lone Wanderer upgrade, which means they could not have retreated. And he should have Shockwave these units. Because now here's what's going to happen. Is we're going to have trading raids here. where the Olsarks can just sit on this hunt, and the Terma are coming up on this hunt along with the Murmillo, and we'll kill one villager, and now we're going to have idle villager time down here as well. So it's about even, kind of. We did have one, and we've got medium infantry. That's very important as well. And we've also got an ox cart being killed. Not a huge deal. He's not really going to need the ox cart anymore. Would like to see husbandry come through pretty soon. And now these Olsarks will get pushed off. So more damage there done by Mariano, but he could have cleared out like this entire army with a shockwave. But now the Olsarks with that upgrade, 5.28 speed. Now the one thing to consider though is that if you have an Olsark, or if you have a Murmillo attacking the Olsarks, they fall below 5 speed, and the Terma can hit them again. So that's why it's very important to have some sort of Olsark with your Terma. That way you can slow them down. Now the problem is the Murmillo at 4.95 speed can't keep up. And we have a little bit of a raid here trying to get through this wall, which is not quite happening yet. Needs to be careful not to get surrounded here by Olsarks. Olsarks running through the base. Just, this is what you want to do. Just cause mayhem. Just run them around. You don't really want to fight because you'll lose against Murmillo and Terma. But you just want to keep the... Oh, watch your pathing. Watch your pathing. Okay, we'll lose just a Murmillo who's kind of lost. But see, the problem is, as an Aranos here, is you need to dedicate more units to defend than it takes for the Odin to raid. And that's where the benefit comes from. Is the amount of units it requires to defend is in the Odin's favor here. So that means he gets the pop advantage. Now he has to be careful fighting here. He needs to pull all of his units up. In the end, this should be a win for Grandmonster as well. And we're just running around. And we could maybe get this last Terma here potentially. Looks like he's maybe going for a surround. Gonna try to run these Olsarks in. Question is, which side of the trees do we go on here? Left or right? We still do have a forest fire. Oh, this is gonna be a nice surround here. Get a little bit more damage. Terma Murmillo can't heal the Odin with the passive regen. As long as he's not losing units, they will eventually regenerate to full health. Takes a little bit of time if they're moving. They heal faster if they're standing still. We can see this guy just ticked up to 44 health, and we can wait and see till he's 45 right there. So it's pretty decent. What was that one? I guess I could look at the numbers and figure it out, but it's 1 HP every like 5 or 6 seconds. That's pretty solid. And now we see this. This is risky coming forward like this. Because it's almost a little bit too early to come forward. Oh no. Oh, he's going to have to shockwave this. Maybe. The Olsarks didn't quite get the surrounding that they needed. And here comes a big fight here. It's a dangerous spot to be in next to the forest. Got to get out of there. And oh, what a surround by the Olsarks. And 2 citizens down. And this is not a good fight for Grandmonster, or for Mariano, who is just stuck in the middle of units. Another citizens, 4 citizens down. That forest fire was huge. Oh, man. And the army from Mariano has just disappeared just like that. And that is a very quick and sudden GG. Just that forest fire there. And the unit's a little bit out of position for Mariano. Like I said, your Kiro Ballista, you got to be careful when you go out in the open. They get surrounded and they had almost no value and super expensive. 1, 2, 3. And that was quick. And he was about to lose a 5th citizen here. That was a bold spot to be in, considering his army was up here. Wow, that ended quickly for Mariano. Out of position, surrounded, Olsarks on both sides. And down he went, just like that. I'm actually, because that game is so quick, let's go back. Let's go back and check the end out again. Because we can fast forward it to the end pretty quickly here. And go through and exactly go over why that happened. Why that happened. Now, the first part really doesn't matter here. I think Mariano was a little bit too tentative early. He could have come on this a little bit sooner. But the big thing for him, Mariano, two things. The earlier you use your shockwave and the earlier you can kill units, the better. Because the earlier you can do damage, the greater effect it has later on down the line. So let's go. There's two main points here. Is the not using the shockwave on these units. They don't have Lone Wanderer. Use it now. Bounce them this way, and you're going to kill 4, probably 5. Instead, he kills none. And remember, Odin has regeneration. You don't kill these Olsarks, they're going to be full health in several minutes. So that's mistake number 1 there. There should have been a shockwave. Would have killed 5 units there. Estimated. But that's huge. 5 Olsarks dead at 6:30. That completely changes the way this game goes. Because if those 5 units are dead, these units, these citizens don't have to go idle here. And then this means this raid here is a pure win for Mariano. As it was, it ended up being pretty much a wash because we had 3 citizens, which is basically 9 villagers. They're idle for 30, 40 seconds. They didn't need to be idle at all. So that's the one big move there. Now we're moving on to just that end game surround. Now Mariano lost a little bit of HP here. Again, if you're not killing, got surrounded here. If you're not killing the Olsarks, they heal back. And now this is a point where I don't like Mariano's positioning here. Not a great... I mean, the problem is there's nothing quite to pressure right yet. And the danger you get in is getting flanked and losing your Kiro Ballista, because they do great if they can stay alive and a target. But here's the problem. He's only got 1 Kiro Ballista here. And by the time the fight happens, he loses 2 beforehand because he's a little out of position. I mean, this is great timing for a Grandmonster who has no idea yet that this is happening, but just happened to stumble upon this beautiful moment here where the army here, nothing to pressure yet. There's still a couple 100 gold here. I mean, that's probably what he was going for. But this was a risk, and the Olsark showed up at just the right time. And we see now 1 Kiro Ballista surrounded and killed. No damage done. That's over 200 resources. We can see, like, pop-wise, pretty even. Then we've got... you gotta be aware. I mean, I know usually everybody wastes the forest fire right away, but you gotta be aware of where that forest fire is. And that is a solid forest fire, because here's what happens is with this crunch coming in, Mariano's surrounded on 3 sides here. Trees, units, more units. And a lot of his units are ranged. And what that means is his ranged units have to move along, and just look at all the damage they're taking while they're moving. And now the second Kiro Ballista is down, and the third one is coming in too slowly, and also at a bad spot too, where he can just get surrounded. And look, is Promethean path blocked out of this fight? And these are huge units because we've got what, only 3 hearse here. Citizens going down, and again we've got the Olsarks are able just to get in on this Kiro Ballista. easily kill it, and it's just a complete massacre here. That's about as one-sided of a fight that this could have ended up ever being. I mean, like realistically, with better positioning, Mariano could hold that and potentially win. He just has to be in a spot where he can keep his ranged units safe, and was not in that spot. And well played by, I mean, as much as Mariano was a little bit out of position, I think it was more so just really well played by Grandmonster. I mean, he had the perfect, it was just a perfect storm. Units on the north, units on the south, burning trees on the east, and that was it. Just like that. Like military, we can see it's pretty even at the start of the fight. Mariano way down. Grandmonster way up. Kill death 33 to 12. And in the end, no luck. No luck for Mariano. So that's a big win as we will turn over to our standings here. And Mariano goes to 1-3. And Nyan to 1-2. Grandmonster to 2-2. So that puts him perfectly tied. Or no, he's still slightly behind because of individual game score. Essentially, I mean, we could say Mariano's technically 7th now. But that was a big win for Grandmonster and a big loss for Mariano there. Mariano's not out. He can win his last 2 games and still make the playoffs, but he'd really almost have to win his last 2 games 2-0, 2-0 to have a chance. So we'll see. But that's going to do it. Let me update my scorecard here for the very last time. Grandmonster with the win with Odin. And we had the Aranos loss. Well, that was a forest fire. And there's Aranos. That's the wrong Aranos. Get out of here. Let's find the right one. There it is. There's the right Aranos. So Grandmonster wins the first and third game. Mariano took the middle, and that was that. So I'm not going to play a game. My schedule has changed, so I'm not on night shift anymore. I'm on day shift, so I'm going to have to call it a night. But I'll probably have another match to cast tomorrow, then maybe the next day, potentially. We'll see. So I'll try to get maybe a little bit more common but shorter streams at night. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for watching. 3 pretty quick games there. All pretty aggressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Sometimes it's nice to have some long, drawn-out games. Other times it's nice to just have some pretty quick games. I feel like you can almost learn more from quick games and just kind of see what exactly led to a win or a loss. And I think in all 3 of those games, it was pretty apparent what a few big things in each game caused the games to be won or lost. And well played by Grandmonster overall there in that entire series, especially that last game. I mean, he played that really well. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am going to find somebody to send you guys off to. And we have Sagi Too Cool saying hello as I am going goodbye. So thanks for tuning in right at the end. Oh, wait, or maybe you've been here. You're welcome, man. You've been here. Well, we'll send you guys over to the old John Arbiter, see what he's got going on for him tonight. So that's it for tonight, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.